Let me ask you something. Have you ever been completely fine with your life until you saw someone else's? You were satisfied with your car, then your neighbor pulled up in a new one. Suddenly, yours felt old. You were happy with your apartment, then a friend posted their new place on Instagram. Suddenly, yours felt small. You were okay with your salary, then you found out what a colleague was making. Suddenly, yours felt insulting. Nothing actually changed, but everything felt different. That feeling has a name. Psychologists call it relative deprivation, the sense that you're falling behind, not because your situation got worse, but because someone else's got better. And here's the part nobody tells you. That feeling is quietly destroying the finances of millions of people, not through one big, terrible decision, but through thousands of small ones, each one perfectly justified, each one feeling totally normal. Today, we're going to talk about the comparison trap, what it is, why your brain is almost designed to fall into it, and how it's likely costing you far more than you realize. Meet Marcus. Marcus is 28. He earns a decent salary, he has a car, a one-bedroom flat, and a Netflix subscription. By almost any objective measure, he's doing fine. But Marcus doesn't measure his life objectively. Nobody does. He measures it against his friends, his colleagues, his Instagram feed, and his LinkedIn connections. And every time he opens his phone, someone somewhere seems to be doing better. Jake just bought a house. Sarah's on her third holiday this year. His old university roommate is apparently making 6 figures in tech now. So Marcus does what feels rational. He upgrades his wardrobe. He books a trip he can't really afford. He starts going to nicer restaurants because, well, that's just what people at his level do, right? He doesn't feel like he's being reckless. He feels like he's just keeping up. And that's the trap. Because Marcus isn't spending based on what he has. He's spending based on how he wants to be perceived. And there is a massive, life-changing difference between those two things. Here's the brutal truth. Most people in their 20s and 30s aren't building wealth. They're building an image of wealth. And those two things often pull in completely opposite directions. Let's zoom out and look at this from a psychological level, because this isn't a willpower problem. It's not even really a money problem. It's a brain problem. Your brain has a system called the social comparison mechanism, and it's ancient. Long before money existed, humans survived in tribes. Status within the tribe meant access to resources, protection, and survival. So your brain evolved to track where you stand relative to the people around you. The problem is, this system was designed for a small tribe of maybe 150 people, people you actually knew, in situations you could actually see clearly. Today, your tribe is your entire social media feed. You're not comparing yourself to 150 people anymore. You're comparing yourself to thousands, and you're seeing their highlight reel, their holiday photos, their promotions, their new purchases, completely stripped of context. You don't see the credit card debt that funded the holiday. You don't see the lease on the car. You don't see the overtime, the stress, or the relationship problems. You just see the outcome. And your ancient brain goes, I should have that too. This is where it starts costing you real money. Researchers call this phenomenon lifestyle inflation, the tendency for spending to rise in proportion to income and social exposure. In other words, the more you earn and the more you see, the more you spend. Not because your needs changed, but because your reference point did. Think of it like a moving goalpost. You hit one level and feel good for about 5 minutes. Then the bar moves. Then you need to hit the next level. Then the bar moves again. Meanwhile, the gap between what you earn and what you keep, which is the actual engine of wealth, stays exactly the same, or gets smaller. Here's a simple example. Imagine 2 people, both earning £40,000 a year. Person A compares themselves to people living a £55,000 lifestyle. They stretch to keep up. They save almost nothing. After 10 years, they have maybe a few £1,000s in savings and no real assets. Person B ignores the comparison game. They live a £28,000 lifestyle and save and invest the rest consistently. After 10 years, they have significant assets, real options, and compounding working in their favor. Same income, completely different lives. The only difference is where each person pointed their attention. Now, here's the deeper insight, and this is where it gets really interesting. The comparison trap doesn't just drain your bank account, it fundamentally distorts how you think about wealth. Most people believe that wealth is something you see, a nice house, a luxury car, designer clothes, expensive holidays, things that signal success to others. But actual, real, lasting wealth is mostly invisible. The wealthy person you imagine driving that BMW? A 2022 study found that most luxury car buyers are not wealthy. They're middle-income earners who allocate a disproportionate chunk of their income to a status signal. The actual millionaire is statistically more likely to drive a 5-year-old Volvo. This is the paradox of wealth. The things that make you look rich often prevent you from becoming rich. Why? Because building wealth requires a very specific and deeply unsexy habit. The habit of consistently spending less than you earn and doing something productive with the difference. That's it. That's the whole secret. And the comparison trap is in direct conflict with that habit at every single turn. Because keeping up with other people requires spending now. Building wealth requires saving now. You cannot do both at the same time indefinitely. Eventually, you have to choose a reference point. There's a term called the hedonic treadmill, the observation that humans quickly adapt to new levels of income or consumption and return to a stable baseline of satisfaction. In other words, the upgrade always feels good at first, then it becomes the new normal, then you need the next upgrade to feel good again, which means the comparison game can never be won. You will always be running, you will rarely feel ahead. But here's the flip side. If you can reset your reference point, if you can anchor your lifestyle to your actual values instead of your perceived social position, something remarkable happens.
You stop needing to run. And the energy, income, and attention you were spending on the treadmill, you can redirect all of it toward building something real. So what do you actually do with this? Step 1 is awareness. Most people who are caught in the comparison trap don't even realize it. They think they're making sensible, adult lifestyle choices. Start asking yourself an honest question with every significant purchase. Am I buying this because I actually want it or because I want to be seen having it? That's not always a comfortable question, but it's an important one. Step 2 is choosing your comparison group deliberately. Right now, your brain is doing this automatically, using whoever shows up in your feed as the default. That's a bad default. Start following people building wealth quietly, people talking about savings rates, investment returns, financial independence. Surround yourself with content from people who measure success differently. Because here's something fascinating. Social comparison works in your favor too, if you point it in the right direction. If your reference group is living below their means and building assets, you'll start to feel behind when you don't do those things. The psychological pull that was working against you starts working for you.